He had sent me a text and said that he had he was drinking a rum and coke and it didn't taste good. And I said, well, you probably shouldn't drink it then.
Released Autopsy says the 22-year-old died as a result of drowning and intoxication. His blood alcohol level was 3 times the legal limit. The report also indicates he had traces of THC in his body, the main active ingredient in marijuana.
In my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't hear. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear the thoughts build up until I can't hear. That my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. Well, it's been almost 3 months to the day since Riley Strain was found on March 22nd. He'd been missing since March 8th for exactly 2 weeks. During that time, social media rallied, trying to find out what had happened to him and where he was. On the same day his body was fished out of the cold, frothing Cumberland River in Nashville, the police tentatively said what they believed the evidence showed: no signs of foul play. Social media were aghast. A headline on that same day, March 22nd, read, "No foul play suspected after college student Riley Strain's body is found in a Nashville river, police say." But social media was having none of it. Now, 3 months later, those rallies of social media are gone. Moved on to, I guess, the next shit show.
The report says there is no sign of significant trauma to Riley's body, refuting speculation that he may have been beaten and thrown in the Cumberland River, where his body was found 2 weeks after he disappeared in March.
Do you remember when we last touched base on this case on this channel? Riley's family were going on to News Nation, being interviewed. They were expressing their distrust of the police and citing TikTokers as their sources. Before we get to the rest of this analysis, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If you not enjoying this analysis, you feel that I've got it completely wrong, please dislike, despair, and leave a shitty comment. If you also very upset about this coverage, you can hit the no thanks button and let's get started. Now, remember, there were all sorts of theories that he'd been robbed by the homeless folk, and why was he found with no trousers or boots or wallet? And some folks were cheerleading. Maybe that's not really the right word. They were really pushing the foul play narrative and blaming the police for not cheerleading it as well. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, would you say where we are now, would you say TikTok True Crime did a good job here? Would you say that TikTok True Crime did Riley's family any favors?
This autopsy report actually states that there was no signs of foul play, that it most likely was an accident.
That is audio from Inside Edition. I'll put a link to that in the description. In any event, 3 months later, the toxicology has come out and it's fairly open and shut. Drowning and intoxication, 3 times the legal limit. Traces of THC. And I think there was even something else as well. Fentanyl, as far as I know. Now, according to the article from CNN, the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department, or MNPD, said that the autopsy released Tuesday, it's Thursday right now, corroborates the findings of their missing person detectives, and the department is now officially classifying Strain's death as accidental. And you might say, well, them saying there's no foul play, that was really jumping the gun. That was really rushing to judgment. What it actually shows is their intuitions, given what they knew then, has actually been borne out, that the gut feeling, based on evidence, has now been confirmed based on additional evidence. Now, I have to say, and I'm sure many will agree, I tend to no longer break stories on YouTube. There's some channels that will be the first to sort of jump all over a story, right? I don't do that anymore. I tend to be a little late to dealing with breaking news. I mean, look at my coverage of Madeleine Soda. It's not that I wasn't aware of it. It's just that I don't really get to it. I don't really publish it as quickly as many other channels. Look at my coverage of Rex Heuermann and that, 34-page affidavit or indictment. Now, Riley's strange toxicology was released 2 full days ago, and I'm only dealing with it now. But look around. Are any other of your favorite channels covering Riley's strain? And the fact that this is an accident, it's being officially classified as an accident, as we said on this channel, that was the position of this channel as well. We said it was an accident and not foul play. I'm just wondering, why am I breaking this story? I don't really see other channels breaking it. Why is that? Okay, sorry, maybe I didn't express myself clearly. I'm wondering why I'm suddenly breaking the news on this case. I mean, the fact is that the official finding is that this was an accident, which is not very shocking. And we did say that on this channel, others didn't. I'm just wondering why other channels aren't covering this. Like I said, it's just strange that I seem to be breaking this story. I mean, I never break stories. Why do you think that is? If it's not shocking, then no one breaks it. I mean, don't people want to know what actually happened in this case? According to CNN, the autopsy report said that Strain's blood alcohol level was 0.228, which is almost 3 times the legal driving limit. The cannabis compound Delta-9 THC was also found in his system, the report said. Police said that Strain had consumed multiple alcoholic drinks at different establishments in Nashville. He became separated from his friends and he was noticeably impaired as he walked onto Gay Street, adjacent to the Cumberland River, on the night of March 8. Now, a few weeks ago, I was in Nashville. Any idea why people go to Nashville? If you've been there, you might know as well. Why do people go to Nashville? And there are lots of different establishments in downtown Nashville. What do you think happens at these establishments? There's music played, people drink alcohol, there's a lot of revelry taking place. And so you might say, well, maybe that's what you do there. Why did Riley go there? Riley was a student. Why was he there? What is he doing there? Well, it didn't seem to matter to many that the last thing Riley was seen doing was drinking, or that video showed him obviously intoxicated. Something else had to have been taking place. Maybe it's something that we can't see, perhaps to do with the homeless folk, had to have been taking place. We're not going to look at the things we are seeing. And so detectives concluded that Strain, unfamiliar with the terrain, he wasn't from there, walking in the dark, had stepped toward an overgrown area. And I think what they're missing in this article is to say that he was actually lost. He was actually disoriented and had gotten kind of lost. And in this situation, he was walking over terrain that then basically fell downward, and he then fell downward with the terrain down a steep embankment that led to a river. He was seen walking there, and that is where he fell into the river. And what made it all worse, and some people said, but he was a strong swimmer, it doesn't make any sense. Well, because of the recent rain, the river was very high that night, and it had a swift current, police said. And that is also important. What is the character of the river? And that has now been established. Also, any person, no matter how strong they are as a swimmer, and I'm quite a strong swimmer, if you are impaired, falling into cold water, strong flowing water, at night and you drunk is going to have an impact on your capabilities. No, it must have been foul play. We need to interrogate the homeless folk. Now, one can understand that it's harder to come to terms, and I mean, I'm extending my hand here in terms of our common humanity and saying, I understand. It is harder, and one can have empathy that it is more difficult to come to terms with our own human weaknesses. You know, a person making a silly mistake while inebriated. I've done it. Almost all of us have done it, and often we have lucky escapes. And so it's easier, it's harder to come to terms with our own weaknesses than having someone else being to blame. But otherwise, it's easier that someone else is to blame than to do the harder thing, which is to come to terms with our own weaknesses. But if you ask me, this is a theme that repeats itself over and over and over in true crime. It's a very popular theme. People like buying into it. People want to buy into it. Someone else is to blame. You know, in true crime, we're all about accountability as long as it's someone else that's to blame. And so CNN obtained a copy of the autopsy report and reached out to Strain's family attorney for comment. I don't think they have commented. They don't really seem to have anything to say. They had quite a lot to say not that long ago. They also asked for an independent autopsy. What were the results of that? Now, we also seem to be less good when we made a mistake. I'm talking about in the true crime space. When we made a mistake here, and perhaps we led our own communities astray on some cockamamie foul play narrative again, we're also quite bad at saying, sorry, I made a mistake. We're certainly not going to break that story, are we? We're going to be very slow at acknowledging that story, aren't we? Isn't that a little disingenuous, though? Now, when I was in America, as I say, I went to Nashville and also met up with someone who went to Nashville, someone who went to the river where he fell in, and this person still had some strong ideas about the case. And she said, what do you think? And I said, it seems pretty straightforward to me, because it happens all the time. People get drunk, they are near water, it's dark, they underestimate what's going on. It's a cliche, really. It happens a lot. No, I was told, there's this, there's that, you don't understand, things didn't make any sense, this and that, blah, blah, blah. True crime is very good at, no matter what scenario is presented, treating it as a nail and banging it in with a foul play hammer. Could it be an accident or foul play? It's definitely foul play. Could it be an accident or foul play? Foul play. What happens when it turns out to be an accident? Sorry, we're not really interested in having that conversation. Sorry, we're dealing with something else now. It doesn't seem to matter how likely, sensible, or reasonable the alternative is. It's always got to be the shocking foul play scenario. And when it turns out it's not, when it's officially not, sorry, I'm busy with something else now, I can't really deal with this. And so why is it that we gravitate to the same thing again? And I can tell you this is going to happen again. It's the Kylie Rodney case, the Riley Strain case, again and again and again. Why? Why do we gravitate to this sort of thing, Well, it's because it's programming. It's being repeatedly programmed. Everything is always more shocking and scary than we thought. Everything, next case, hey guys, everything is more shocking and scary than we thought. No, it's actually not. It's often the opposite. But that's not really good for views, is it? In this case, Riley was extremely intoxicated, and he appeared extremely intoxicated, and he was a student with other kids. And what do students do? Well, they typically, and I did this, and other students have done this, and you may have done this, they primarily go to these sorts of events to get drunk and to get high, and that is what happened here. There's also a song about it. 1, here comes the 2 to the 3 to the 4. Tell him, bring another round, we need plenty more. 2 stepping on the table. She don't need a dance floor, oh my good Lord. Someone pour me a double shot of whiskey. They know me and Jack Daniels got a history. There's a party downtown near 5th Street. Everybody at the bar getting tipsy, except for Riley Strain. Everyone was at the bar getting tipsy, except Riley Strain. Even though he was stumbling outside, he wasn't tipsy. It had to be something else. Do you remember the intrigue in his final text, some cryptic message behind good lops? Or is the letter I right next to the O on a keyboard? And for that matter, right next to the letter P is the letter L. So it could also be good, LOL, right? Or, is there some kind of cryptic thing going on? He was trying to send a message about being low on battery. Or was it really just the result of drunk texting? Now, according to the article, Nashville police reiterated that there is currently no indication of foul play in Strain's disappearance. This is from an article published on March 19. And this is what was going on. Everyone was saying foul play, and the police had to say again and again, we don't think so. And so a family spokesman, a dude called Dingman, was saying, I'm frustrated over the lack of progress in the investigation, especially because they've discovered Strain's bank card in an area that had been extensively searched by volunteers. And he said he was talking about every piece of the puzzle we're receiving is leading us to 100 more questions. Where were those 100 more questions materializing? Where were they manifesting? And he was saying, we're no closer to finding Riley, except they were. Riley would be found 3 days later. And so at the time, Dingman was highlighting the role of social media. He was saying, social media are the good guys here, especially TikTok. TikTok have been incredible in terms of the search efforts. And he went on to, I think, News Nation to applaud TikTok for playing, these are his words, for playing a crucial role in the case and providing a crucial lead in the case. And he said, it's ironic that they're actually trying to ban TikTok right now. TikTok are the true heroes in this story. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did TikTok find Riley Strain? Did TikTok do the toxicology? Did TikTok in general mostly get this case right or wrong? And whatever the answer is to that, where are all those TikTokers now? Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.